computer. Hello, I want to welcome you today. We have a special guest. His name is Jack Hart, and he's actually a missionary with YWAM. He has traveled the world, but he has quite an interesting story. So I wanted to take the time to interview him. First of all, Jack, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule between traveling and jet setting all over the place in ministry. Thank you for taking the time today. I so appreciate it.
It's a privilege to be with you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, Jack used to be in national network television. He was an art director and he worked on The Price is Right, Family Feud, and The Magic of David Copperfield before becoming a missionary in 1995 with Youth with a Mission. So, Jack, can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in all of that with TV and artistic design and all that? Tell us about what you did.
Well, it was kind of a 30-year journey for me. I started as a high schooler working in theater and worked at the local college all during high school and wound up working at Disney World when they first opened, and then worked in theater, worked designing amusement parks. And I have this background with magicians. While I was in high school, I met the son of uh, a famous magician, Harry Blackstone Jr.,
Okay.
and wound up traveling with him, designing his first tour, and traveling with him, and that wound up in Los Angeles. And the first job I could find was in television, and so, uh, yeah, I worked on Beat the Clock with Monty Hall. And during that time, I also uh, started designing Blackstone's Broadway show. And then David Copperfield happened to come to CBS while I was there.
Just
And
happened to?
well, he was getting some photos taken
Okay.
and the photo studio was just down the hall from my office. And so I brought him up and showed him what I was doing for the Broadway show of Blackstone. And he started calling me to design illusions for him. And so I worked on about five of his specials and was nominated for an Emmy for one of them. And so, yeah, I worked. The Beat the Clock producers were the same as The Price is Right, and they
Oh,
liked my work, and so that led to working 16 years on The Price is Right, and working on other Mark Goodson productions. Like Family Feud and Super Password and Match Game and Body Language, and so yeah, I was, very thankful to be associated with the Mark Goodson Productions and um, doing that, and of course, working with Copperfield and that. So I was very fortunate to work with many of the famous names of the last part of last century. I'm
wow.
old enough that it was all last century. But I worked with Doug Henning and Harry Blackstone Jr. and David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy, Lance Burton, and many other names that you probably don't even know. Uh, but yeah, Andre Cole was a Campus Crusade evangelist who was a wonderful magic illusionist, and David Copperfield used his illusions. He was so
Really?
good. He
Wow.
was an inventor, and so I worked with him, and so I'm just very thankful for having been able to be involved at a creative level at a designing for them, working with them.
Wow, that's incredible. So what made you change from doing all that, being in the limelight, all this excitement to wanting to be a missionary? Was there a change of your heart?
Well, we as a family that there's a simple way to look at Christian life, and that is relationship with God, uh, input from the body of Christ, and outreach to the hurting world. And so generally we do two out of three. And that had been our experience. We had great relationship with God. We had wonderful church relationship and community, but we really didn't do any outreach to the hurting world. And so this family from YWAM came to our church, and they were starting a new ministry called King's Kids.
Okay.
And they invited our daughter to come to the camp. And it was a two week camp in Hollywood. And Hollywood, the city, is back then in the 80s, early 90s, was really very run down. A lot of it had uh, windows boarded up. It had a lot of drug use and homeless, and it was really quite run down. People would come visit and say, "Oh, I have to go see Hollywood," and I say, "No, you don't." you know, so there's the industry of Hollywood, which is studios and but a lot of filming and taping, or well, back then taping and filming was all on location, and so Hollywood was in industry, but the actual location of Hollywood uh, was very run down and decrepit and disappointing. And so doing outreach there was a good thing. And so we were allowed to observe this camp. Um, and, they invited us then as a family if we wanted to join and do camps like that. So we decided that that would be a good thing for our family because the whole family could be involved. And so working with them for 3 years, uh, doing various kinds of outreaches locally and nationally, and even internationally, going to Mexico, which living in California was not that big a deal, but
Pretty close.
yeah, but it's still international. And so it was expanding our horizons, so to speak. And we prayed a dangerous prayer. Uh, God, can you use this full time? And the phone rang. Hello, is that really you, God? And it was actually our King's Kids leader who was inviting us to the Impact World Tour, which is crusade evangelism with Youth with a Mission. And uh, they had a King's Kids team that was a national and international team, was one night of the crusade. He said, you have to come see, King's Kids on a national, international level. And so we made arrangements to do that. And then what they didn't tell us was that the founders of Youth with a Mission, Lauren and Darlene Cunningham, were talking to lay leaders and pastors 2 sessions in the morning, 2 sessions in the afternoon. And so my joke is that it's just coincidence after hearing about missions and how you can be involved in it from the leaders of YWAM that we felt called full time. And so we prayed and felt like the Lord gave us a year to prepare, and which we did. And Bob Barker called me up on camera, said, "This is Jack Hart. He's been with us for 16 years, and he's going off to be a Christian missionary." And
Wow.
so then just, yeah, returned, went to Salem to do our training, and Romania for our outreach, and returned back to the States. We went on the Impact World Tour with our family. We saw 2,500 people make decisions for the Lord in,
Wow.
in 3 months.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
And then we went to Atlanta for the Olympics, and we had a camp with King's Kids. There was 5,000 King's Kids from 125 nations.
Wow, that's incredible.
It was quite the event. And after that, we went back to Los Angeles and worked with King's Kids there. So, yeah, that was the beginning of the journey. And now, 30 years later, I'm still at it.
And how many, do you have any idea how many countries you've been to, how many places you've been to? I know sometimes you go multiple times to, and you're still traveling, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm very thankful. Last year, I was gone 7 months out of the year, and was in Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania and Nepal. And so that was the main travel. I was 2 times in Africa last year, and so yeah, it was a total of 7 months that I was gone.
Wow, and those are challenging countries. Those are not the plush countries. Can you share a couple stories with us and maybe a couple different locations of how you've touched people's lives and especially kids in some of the countries that you've been to?
I'm real thankful. In Uganda, there's a one of the states is called Luwero, and they were pioneering a work there, and was able to uh, help them start a children's program, reaching out to local children there. And so we did some meetings together and helped them start. And I just talked with the leader yesterday, and they now are serving 125 children.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And so I was also in the Republic of Georgia, which is not in the U.S.
Okay.
And,
That's a Muslim country, right?
and so uh, there was a man at the local church, and he used to work in the army in bomb disposal, and he was blown up by one of the bombs.
Oh.
He lost both hands and one leg,
Mm.
but he had a prosthetic leg, and he got around with no hands. He drove a car. Uh, yeah, I mean, he was just uh, on fire for God, and he had
Oh.
a heart for children. And in communist countries, they would build these tall uh, apartment buildings that are maybe 12 stories tall. And they would have maybe 4 or 5 of them in proximity of each other. And so you have quite a few families piled together in a small area. And so he had a heart for the children in those areas. So he took me to one of those areas, and I was able to help him start a outreach to the children. Uh,
Oh,
and so at the meeting, the mothers, babushkas, they call them, and grandmothers
yes.
were all there to check us out, and um, but yeah, it was just a privilege to, help be an initiator and help start, a children's program there.
Right. And I wanted to say that I have seen you in years ago that you did kind of a illusion program where you shared the gospel. Is that normally what you do when you travel overseas?
Yeah, I carry some tricks, and so that's one way. I also teach people how to do the got tricks that would illustrate the truth, and so um, for outreach, because it's a great way to, as a teacher, any kind of object lesson is going to help you learn
Right.
better. And
Yes.
if it's one that has a bit of a puzzle to it or a bit of wonder, then it kind of captures your imagination as well. And yeah, using tricks to illustrate truth. And so I would present those. And I've been, when I travel, in addition to the teaching that I do for Youth with a Mission, I often invited to schools to make those kind of presentations and to, develop like programs there. And so I'm just very thankful that it's a tool that I can use.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, your life of service. And I know you've touched thousands upon thousands of lives, not only with YWAM. I think that's magnifying, right? Your your mission and what you're doing, but also you're serving right there, in the in country, which it's got to be challenging with some of the food and everything. So tell me a little bit about, as you have been serving all these people, what about your health? How has your health been?
Well, the nature of my work is sedentary. And so as a teacher, I have to do a lot of research and development. And so it's, sitting at a computer or sitting with a book or, it's a lot of sitting. And so uh, as I've become a seasoned citizen, I've had to realize I need to develop stamina and strength in order to stand for 4 hours and teach at a time, and uh, to be able to sustain long bus rides and the travel, the airplane travel is long enough, but again that's sitting, but then there's in country and inter country travel, which is often long bus rides or
It
other
can be
things.
pretty bumpy, right, in those countries. It's not
Yeah,
just smooth
absolutely.
sailing.
They call it African massage.
I haven't heard that one. There you go.
And so yeah, it's so I had to I'd been carrying quite a bit of weight, and the metabolism was quite low, and and blood sugar had developed to become high. My first time in Uganda, they fed me a fruit smoothie at break time, and then they which had extra sugar that I wasn't aware of. You know,
Uh-oh.
and then they fed me fresh juice at lunchtime, which had extra sugar that I wasn't aware of. And so after 2 weeks of that much juice and fruit every day, I developed a little bump on the back of my head. Uh, and in the next location, by the time I got to the next country, a week later, it was a giant um, diabetic abscess.
Oh
And
my goodness.
so it had to be, they took out 20 ounces of fluid. My blood sugar was 4 times normal. And so, yeah, from that point, I had to start watching my diet and start on metformin and uh, to help control it.
Is that when you were diagnosed with diabetes, or did you already have it?
Well, I may have already had it, but that was when I was diagnosed.
Okay, okay, because I know we were really concerned about you and we've been praying for you for different health issues.
Yeah, and so yeah, thanks to you, I've been able to kind of unlock the motivation. So thank you for your prayers and concern.
Oh,
And um, it, I'm very, very thankful. So about a month ago, I had lost about 25 pounds, and
wow.
um, my A1C had gone down from 10.5 in January to 6.4.
That's huge.
Yeah, and
And this
and
is after how long had you been on the drops at that point?
I think 2 months.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, so very thankful. I think the drops helping the metabolism, and the the diet that is uh, suggested, just help bringing discipline into my life, and
Okay.
watching what I eat better, avoiding certain foods, and it's the combination is helped. I'm still on the way down program, wanting to lose another 25 or so.
And you can do it. I believe it. You're
Yeah,
disciplined enough. Okay, so 25 more pounds is your goal.
yeah, at
That's
least.
awesome. Okay. And you've been using the drops and the food plan. And I know you've also been trying to get more movement right into your day as well.
Yeah, that's a challenge. I mean, I get some movement just to walk from my room to the uh, cafeteria. Here is a quarter mile.
Okay.
You know, so that just some movement within the building is helpful. I need to do more, and so you wind up walking around the complex here, which is a former hotel. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah, like maybe 3 laps around is a mile, you know. And
Okay.
so I'm able to get additional steps in just locally here without going too far. I prefer to go to Garden of the Gods
That's
to
beautiful.
walk and take in nature. Yeah, it's much nicer.
So I wanted to say that I think you have one of the more challenging food situations that I have, had with coaching people. And do you want to tell a little bit about kind of your limitations? And also, when you're traveling, you don't always have a say. When you're a missionary, I've done it before. You eat what's put before you, right? You know, those people have sacrificed their time and their money to give you, whatever you have in front of your plate. So that's got to be a big challenge.
Well, when I travel now, I bring extra money and ask them to their their typical diet is high carb
Right.
and rice, or in Africa they have a corn flour, maize flour they call it, and they cook that into a consistency that is kind of like Play-Doh.
Okay.
And I mean, it's, I don't know how else to describe it. And they eat it with their hand. Uh, they take and form a little ball uh, with their hand. And then they sometimes will have a gravy or something. So they'll put a little, with their thumb, make a little indention in the ball and scoop up the gravy and pop it in their mouth.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a very community kind of conversational thing that you do. You know that you're rolling this food, this ball into in your hand, and then grabbing some greens or gravy and popping it in your mouth. And but it's high carb. It's corn flour.
Right, right.
And so I've asked them, to just saute vegetables and then provide protein, which could be chicken or beef or pork or fish, and so it varies on
Okay.
what they would provide. But so I'm able to control the diet overseas a little better. I mean, I have to provide for it myself, but yeah, it they don't believe that I'm really so this corn maze in Swahili areas, they call it ugali,
Okay.
and that is to them is real food. And it's like Asians would have rice 3 times a day, they would have ugali 3 times a day.
Wow.
And so their joke is that ugali is real food and everything else is snacks.
That's funny.
And so they don't believe that I eat real food because I'm just eating vegetables and protein. And so that's the way I kind of deal with it there. Here, I don't have a full kitchen facility here. And so I'm reliant on more on a microwave to um, you know, deal with food. And so I buy pre-cooked hamburger patties and
Okay.
rotisserie chicken and carve on that. And so that gives me protein. And then I'll get a vegetable platter from the store and eat vegetables off of that. And um, I try to buy avocados,
Yes.
and that's difficult. The last batch of avocados I bought are they're not ripening.
I had that problem.
And in Africa, avocados are plentiful. And when I was in Burundi, they were just giant avocados. I mean, quite, I'd never seen avocados that large before.
Wow.
But yeah, so avocado is very easy, and in Africa is very plentiful. Here, we import them generally, and they're picked way before they're ready. And but the last batch I have just are not ripening, remaining
Right.
hard. And
That's hard.
yeah, it's, because I like avocado. It's good for the diet, and
Yes,
so,
that good
but
healthy fat
yeah, and
and fiber.
yeah, so yeah, trying to avoid carbs and eat fruit, vegetables, and protein.
Okay, wow. Well, I just wanted to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I know that takes extra creativity and discipline. When you told me your situation, you said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because of this situation. I thought, wow, this is a challenge, but I think we can do it. And I think that we can help your health. And I just want to tell you, thank you. We've been praying for you for a while. And just to see, my husband had come and he said, oh my goodness, I saw Jack and he looked great, he told me. And he said so just even your inside, your internal spirit just shines out. But he was saying that you even look great in your physical body. So I want to thank you again so much for sharing your story and giving us your time. And I want to congratulate you for your tenacity. And I just believe you're going to get to that other 25 pounds if you stay disciplined. And I believe, the drops and the eating the food plan and all of that movement. And with God's help, I believe that you're going to get there. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I want to say thank you, for the opportunity and investment in my life. Uh, you know, it has really made a difference. We have quantifiable effects, and in terms of numbers. And yeah, thank you so much. It's been very encouraging for me to see a difference. Uh,
Oh,
and to feel the difference also. I mean, of having more energy and stamina, and so I'm very thankful. The process is a challenge, um, uh, because I can resist anything except for temptation. And as the old joke goes. And yeah, I really appreciate your help that has been, making a big difference in my life.
oh, well, thank you. It's such an honor and such a pleasure for me to see people, especially when my heart is just like, oh, I just want to help them. And I kind of saw that with you. So I'm so grateful. And I just want to wish you blessings. I know you've got a lot of projects, even travel coming up. So just praying blessings and protection and vitality and health as you continue to do and serve what God wants you to do. So thank you so much.
Thank you.